Pacific Rim franchise is bigger than you might think, with movies, a TV show, graphic novels, and more. So the idea of Pacific Rim 3 has always been floating around. When Guillermo del Toro first dropped Pacific Rim in 2013, it didn't exactly blow up in the US. It struggled at the domestic box office, barely hitting $100 million. But thanks to international audiences, it raked in $400 million worldwide, proving its staying power over time. Legendary Entertainment has a habit of balancing its focus between comics and movies, and in 2024, it crushed the box office with Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. With that kind of success, there's renewed interest in Pacific Rim 3, something the studio and Charlie Hunnam have been pushing for over the years. Now, 6 years after the last film, the franchise seems to be making a comeback in a way no one saw coming. Charlie Hunnam, the star of Pacific Rim, recently shared that he's open to coming back for Pacific Rim 3, but only under one very specific condition, and if it happens, it could actually fix the biggest issue with the sequel. Hunnam is known for taking on all kinds of different roles, but he's never done a sequel before. So the fact that he's even considering a return says a lot about how much he values the original movie and the talent behind it. If Pacific Rim 3 gets the right team together, Hunnam's return could help deliver an action-packed sequel that makes up for Pacific Rim Uprising's disappointing performance. And while seeing him back in the franchise is exciting enough, his one big requirement for coming back makes things even more interesting. Hunnam has made it clear he'd only return for Pacific Rim 3 if Guillermo del Toro is back in the director's chair. Del Toro's love for kaiju movies, practical effects, and his unique vision is what made the first Pacific Rim so great. His passion for filmmaking gives each of his movies a distinct feel, making them stand out in a way few other directors can match. While Pacific Rim Uprising had plenty of talent involved, it leaned too much on action without getting audiences invested in the human drama. Del Toro, with his incredible attention to detail and ability to bring bizarre, larger-than-life worlds to life, is the only one who could truly do Pacific Rim 3 justice. In the interview, when asked about projects he'd consider revisiting, Hunnam didn't even hesitate. He immediately said he'd be up for returning to the Pacific Rim franchise or working on anything with Guillermo del Toro if the chance came up. He said, "I would do anything that Guillermo was doing. If Guillermo invites me to do Pacific Rim 3, I'll be there, or anything else he wants to do." In another universe, Pacific Rim and Godzilla could have crossed paths. Imagine that. Director Steven DeKnight recently revealed that his original plan for Pacific Rim 3 was to connect it to the MonsterVerse, which includes movies like Godzilla vs. Kong. Unfortunately, that never happened, but who knows? It might still be possible down the line. Responding to a fan on Twitter, DeKnight confirmed that Pacific Rim 3 would have ended by merging with the MonsterVerse. Just think of the epic battles we could have gotten. That was actually my long-term plan. PR3 was structured to end in a way that married the two universes. Unfortunately, DeKnight didn't go into detail, so it's still a mystery how Pacific Rim 3 would have connected to a world where Godzilla and King Kong could fight alongside or against the Jaegers. Interestingly, Guillermo del Toro recently gave his own stamp of approval on the idea. After seeing the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer, he took to Twitter to share his thoughts, suggesting he's definitely on board with the crossover concept. "I personally love seeing the neon, sea battles, building demolition, etc. because secretly, maybe, the Pac Rim universe coexists in the legendary Kaiju verse, and perhaps one day they can rumble. Maybe one day we'll see that crossover happen, but for now, the Pacific Rim franchise is making a big move to the small screen." It looks like the series is getting a big-budget TV adaptation, and an Academy Award-nominated screenwriter is attached. According to Variety, Eric Heiserer has signed a first-look TV deal with Legendary Entertainment, and his first project is a Pacific Rim series. This show will be an origin story, likely set during the early days of humanity's fight against the Kaiju, as seen in the prologue of the first film. Heiserer first made a name for himself writing horror films like A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Thing, and Final Destination 5. He later earned an Oscar nomination for Arrival in 2017, and also developed Netflix's Shadow and Bone. Now, he's bringing his storytelling skills to the Pacific Rim universe. Legendary television president Jason Clodfelter had this to say about Heiserer's new deal. Eric is a multi-talented, prolific creator whose track record of critical and commercial successes speaks for itself. We are thrilled to launch our partnership with Eric, Chronology, and Carmen with a new entry in the epic, globally popular Pacific Rim universe. We are certain their vision will make for an enthralling expansion to Legendary's beloved franchise. From the moment the first Pacific Rim trailer dropped, it was clear this was a franchise with serious potential. But in the recent times, aside from the short-lived animated series on Netflix, fans were left wondering if the IP would ever make a real comeback. There have been rumors about Pacific Rim crossing over with Godzilla and Kong in the MonsterVerse, but that always felt more like wishful thinking than an actual plan. Big franchises like Star Wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe have shown how theatrical releases and TV spin-offs can work together. Not too long ago, expanding franchises across different mediums was a tough sell. Just ask Ron Howard, who tried and failed to bring The Dark Tower to both film and TV. But now, it's the norm. Alongside all the Marvel and Star Wars shows, Warner Bros. Has Dune Prophecy and The Penguin lined up for Max, while Peacock has brought Ted to streaming and is moving forward with their Friday the 13th prequel, Crystal Lake. The Pacific Rim origin story currently has no streaming home, although given that Legendary Pictures partnered with Apple TV Plus for Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, and the 2 Pacific Rim movies are already streaming there, that could seem like the perfect place for the new series to land. If that MonsterVerse Pacific Rim crossover is still an idea sitting on someone's desk, then the collaboration becomes even more probable. Besides the upcoming TV show, Pacific Rim is also making a comeback in comic form thanks to Kickstarter. The franchise already has 5 graphic novels: Tales from Year Zero, Tales from the Drift, Blackout, Aftermath, and Amara, each exploring different parts of the Pacific Rim timeline. Some dive into events leading up to the movies, while others show what was happening in other parts of the world at the same time. Since there's no strict continuity between them, readers can start with any book. Now, a new graphic novel is in the works. On August 5, 2024, Legendary Comics launched a Kickstarter for Pacific Rim Final Breach, a 3-volume story set after the movies. The graphic novel will be written by Joshua Fialkov, Netflix's live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender, with artwork by E.J. Su, Transformers. The first volume is expected to drop in October 2025. It's not exactly Pacific Rim 3, but at least the story is getting a proper continuation. Well, that's all for today's video. Let me know what you think of this in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll be bringing more updates on this and other exciting upcoming movies and series. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.